and welcome back. My name is Roxanne Pacheco. I'm a licensed therapist, certified in trauma and preventive medicine. I'm so happy that you have returned for another one-on-one, a little bit more of learning about our amazing brain and how it works. Believe it or not, it works for our good. Just as Romans 8:28 says, all things work for our good. Well, believe me when I tell you that God created us perfectly and our brain was meant to work for good, despite any symptoms, any signs that you may be experiencing. So today we're going to talk about something that I feel many people struggle with, and this would be anxiety. So generalized anxiety disorder is a label that is given to many people who experience any of the following: palpitations or racing heartbeat, feeling like you need to run out, or maybe you're suffocating, maybe sweating of the hands or the feet, shaking of the hands or the feet, a knot in the middle of the stomach. Many people will experience diarrhea, constipation, butterflies in the stomach that can't be stopped. Any of these symptoms sound similar or familiar to you? Well, these are all symptoms of anxiety. Believe it or not, in our brain, there is a function, and that little function is known as the amygdala. You will see an image right here. The amygdala is responsible for one of three things. It either goes into fight mode, flight mode, or freeze mode. Now, what I want for you to keep in mind is that we are all supposed to have a working amygdala. Each one of us is supposed to react when we see something that threatens us. If we see a dog that is attacking us with a mission to bite us, the natural response is that we would take off running. If we see somebody coming at us to assault us, our natural response would be to fight it off. However, the problem comes when there is no active threat, but we continue to respond with the same reaction. That is when it becomes very destructive for us. So in recent weeks, and to bring this back down to reality, 2 individuals that I know completed suicide. These are 2 individuals that were deeply hurting. And in a moment of despair, they went into full-blown flight mode. What this means is that at that moment, they wanted to escape the reality of the pain they were feeling. At that moment, they simply wanted to overcome whatever they were experiencing. And unfortunately, there are 2 areas in our brain that do not work at the same time. The amygdala, which is where I mentioned fight, flight, and freeze mode, kick in. And frontal lobe, which is this area in the front of our brain that is responsible for executive decision making, for rational thoughts, for logic, for reason, for consequences. These 2 areas do not coexist, very similar to how light and darkness do not coexist. Either we are in a Christ-centered mind, or we are in an area of the mind where literally the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And I want to make this something of emphasis, that suicidal thoughts or ideations are thoughts where we simply want to avoid the pain that we are feeling. Many will not admit to this, but the vast majority of the population will have suicidal thoughts at one point or another. The difference is that many will not act on these thoughts. Does this make you weak? No, it does not make you weak. I want for you to know that you are not weak because you think these thoughts. What brings about weakness is when we stay in these thoughts so long that we actually begin to believe that we are not seen, that we are not heard, and that we are not loved. So if this is you today, my message for you today is for you to understand that at this moment, your brain is simply doing what it thinks is best to protect you from your pain. I have interviewed many clients throughout the course of my clinical profession, and each one of them has told me that they do not want to die. They simply want to stop hurting. That is the reality. They don't want to end their lives. They want to stop the pain. And therapy is this one place where you get to sit in this place and to process all of that pain that does not belong to you, so that your amygdala is not simply 1 time and 2 times and 3 times and 4 times going off into flight mode, with that being the only thought that you have. How can I stop the pain? So if this message is for you, I will attach the phone number to the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Please do yourself a favor. Pick up the phone and dial this number. You are not alone, nor should you live out your pain alone. There are individuals that have been equipped to simply listen to you. Sometimes that's all we need, for somebody to care enough to listen in that place of darkness and to offer to be a beacon of light and hope to guide us through. Can you make it? Absolutely, you can make it. Do you have the willingness and the courage to pull through? It's going to be completely up to you. Many people get frustrated because they say it's all in your head. Well, you know, it is all in your head. Our thoughts are in our head. But just like that pain is in our brain, healing is also in the same place, and healing is right here in the front. One of the most miraculous things that I always have to offer my clients is the fact that the most simple cure for anxiety is actually breath work. I'm going to guide you through one very simple technique, and it's called square breathing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and inhale for 4 seconds. We're going to hold for 4 seconds. We're going to exhale for 4 seconds and hold for 4 seconds once more. It's a square. So we inhale through the nose, hold, release through the mouth, and hold again. The beauty about amygdala and frontal lobe thinking, or frontal lobe functioning, is that turning off that switch is as simple as breathing. There's no medication out there that can do what your brain naturally knows how to do for you. So breath work is the primary tool to defeat anxiety. There's other tools. Gratitude. Gratitude releases high levels of oxytocin in our brain. That is going to be a feel-good chemical for you. It's like literally taking an antidepressant or an anti-anxiolytic. So you mentioned 3 things you're grateful for. You think about them. And what naturally begins to happen in the brain is that it begins to release this oxytocin. And as oxytocin is released, your brain is giving you a medicine to feel better. So today what we have learned about is what anxiety is, the symptoms for anxiety, what you may be feeling, what your body may be telling you. But we've also learned about your own capacity to get yourself to tap into frontal lobe thinking and to do something to help yourself out. I mentioned square breathing, breathing in for 4 seconds, holding, releasing for 4 seconds, and once again holding again. And I also mentioned the importance of having a gratitude journal. It's something to help your brain, to help you out. These 2 techniques, if used properly and continuously, can greatly impact the quality of your life. Anxiety is not something that you have to live with. Philippians 4:6 says, "Do not be anxious for anything, but in everything, through prayer and supplication, present your requests to God, and He will listen to you." You see, the thing is that He knows what He needs to do, but do you know what you need to do? All He's waiting is for you to simply say, "Here it is, Lord. I lift it to you, and my request is that you would grant me the victory." And let me tell you something. I'm going to spoil the whole story for you. You've already won, simply because He's on your side. Thank you for joining me once more for another video about learning together. I encourage that if this message edified your life, that you give it a like, a thumbs up. Please share with me below in the comments. How is this impacting your life? What are you doing different? And how is this being a benefit for perhaps you, and not only you, but your family as well? I encourage that you look at some previous videos, for example, the inner child wounds, because many of the symptoms that you are experiencing right now are likely related to some inner child wounds. I look forward to seeing you in 1 week for another one-on-one. Remember, trauma is real, but so is healing.